But many are now speculating that the Premier himself is at risk of losing his own seat in the electorate of Ashgrove.
For a look at the likely successors should Campbell Newman lose his seat, we're joined by Todd Winther from Griffith University. Todd, thank you very much for your time today. So there's been so much talk about whether the Premier will hold his seat, and he himself said the LNP will be kicked out of office if he loses Ashgrove. Is that likely?
It's not necessarily the likely outcome. There's still a large chance that Campbell Newman will lose the seat of Ashgrove if the Liberal Party win government.
So it hasn't stopped the talk though, has it? And there's a new news poll out today showing him trailing the Labor opposition leader Anastasia Palaszczuk on who would make a better Premier from 46 to 36. So let's talk about who would succeed him if it happened. Who's at the top of the list?
Well, it's really a race in two. You have the Queensland State Treasurer, Tim Nicholls, and then you have the Queensland State Health Minister, Lawrence Springwalk, who's led the party before.
Sorry to interrupt you, Todd, but if we could take a look at those politicians in turn. Tim Nicholls first, the State Treasurer. Tell me about him. Why do you think he could succeed Campbell Newman?
Well, he's performed reasonably well as Treasurer, and that was the backbone of the Liberal government's term during this period. He's released a policy called Strong Choices, which Campbell Newman argued last night in the Premier's debate. He's really the backbone of why he should be re-elected.
Now, are there any factional allegiances that might preclude him from actually taking on the post, should it become vacant?
Yes, there's been an instance before where he tried to secure the leadership in 2007. At that time he was aligned with controversial Queensland MP Santo Santoro, and the Queensland Liberal Party ended up going with a compromise candidate in McArdle, and ever since then he's struggled to get the factional support, which is why one of the main reasons why Campbell Newman was drafted in 2012 as Liberal leader.
Now, you also mentioned Lawrence Springwalk, a former leader who himself took the party to 3 electoral defeats. Why would you nominate him as a possibility?
Well, he's got a really strong connection with traditional National Party voters, Queensland regional voters, that Tim Nicholls doesn't really have. So you've got Tim Nicholls on the one hand, that's a Brisbane-based politician, and Lawrence Springwalk as kind of like the regional representative. Plus he's also performed strongly in his role as Health Minister, probably the most able minister of the Newman government's term.
Okay, take us through the rest of your list. Who else would you consider are candidates?
Well, these are kind of like outside chances, but first of all, there's another former Liberal Party leader in John Paul Langbrook who stepped aside for Campbell Newman in 2012. He would be in with a chance. And then there are some speculation that we might have a few outsiders. The member for Indooroopilly in Brisbane's western suburbs, Scott Emerson, is seen as the Liberal Party's rising star in state politics. And also you've got Ian Walker, who many could see as a compromise candidate in the vein of McArdle in 2007.
Any chance the Liberal National Party would consider a female Premier?
No, there don't appear to be any likely contenders. You might wish to speculate whether that's a reflection of the culture of the party or the quality of the female candidates. But at this stage, there doesn't appear to be a likely female contender.
Well, just finally, Todd Winther, let's take a look at the opposition leader, Anastasia Palaszczuk. She's heading the party, which, let's say, it won just 7 seats at the last election. It's picked up 2 more since. Is the expectation she's going to remain leader, even if Labor does bag a swag of seats, courtesy of disaffected voters?
Well, it depends on a number of factors. First of all, it depends on how many seats she obviously does win. It also depends where those seats are actually won. If the Labor Party wins Greenslopes in the Brisbane suburbs, for example, you've got a former Bligh government minister, Cameron Dick, who was tapped as Anna Bligh's successor if he was able to win his seat, but he's recontesting having lost the seat in 2012. Similarly, you've got the member for Sandgate in Brisbane's northern suburbs, Sterling Hinchcliffe, who might well have an eye on the top job. So regardless of the result, you can't legitimately say that Anastasia Palaszczuk is 100% certain.
Well, Todd Winther from Griffith University, thank you very much for coming in and giving us your insights.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Overseas now.